Okay, so good evening everyone. So today we will see how to automate job applications in LinkedIn using Selenium WebDriver. So today mainly there are multiple steps we have given. So just we will go through the steps and we will go through the code and then we will run it. There might be failures depending on the availability of the elements because LinkedIn is also not purely HTML. The elements might differ depending uh, on the browser or depending on depending on the site or depending on the time or the size what we are using. Uh, but generally, maximum of the time, the input forms and the input, for example, the email input text boxes will work fine. But sometimes mainly the buttons might fail. So now, the step is like we will be applying for a job from the LinkedIn using Selenium. So now, first thing we have to set up email ID and password. So as of now, for us to test, we have actually created a sample, uh, like a sample LinkedIn account, and then so once we create that, we actually don't, we haven't enabled any two-factor authentication. So whenever we run it, we are not we don't want this. So basically, for to test, we are not using any primary account. Just we will having the dummy account, and then so whenever we want to apply for that by default, so if we have the resume already uploaded, then it is easy to apply directly, like easy apply. So generally when we go to jobs and there will be different for example, sometimes there will be apply, sometimes there will be easy apply. So as of now I'm not getting. So easy apply is like directly we can apply from the notifications bar, like for example if we come here, so we can directly, when we click on that, it will directly take us to the easy apply kind of stuff. Not getting here, but generally for example if you see here, yeah, so when we click here, so some kind of stuff, so when we click easy apply, so it will ask for just phone number, and then the resume is already uploaded. So when we click on the next, uh, so sometimes they may ask some questions. So generally depending on the type they may ask. So just okay, so you can actually submit application on back, some kind of now just I'm just not saving it, not submitting it. So but for that to apply, because when we click on that easy apply, our resume is already uploaded. If you have seen that, so our resume is already uploaded, so we are not doing any resume upload. So how we did that, so when we go to our profile, let's go to home. So in profile there will settings and privacy, and then in data privacy, the job seeking preferences, if you click on job application settings, then we can actually upload our resume, uh, so that we have to enable this depending on our requirements. So whenever we click on easy apply, this automatically whatever our resume uploaded here, it will automatically share to that job. Now if I just go back, so for example, now we go to jobs tab. Searching Python developer, and that we are, if you want easy apply, we are clicking the easy apply filter. So yeah, so it lists all the easy apply kind of stuff. So now we can actually click on something, and if you do the easy apply kind of stuff, then it will go to. So it's like whenever we did this, so the same thing, yes. Or we can go to any kind of stuff. We can just, you can directly copy paste this one, or you can use. So now, so by using this URL, we actually open the LinkedIn web page, and then we actually try to log in uh, with our account, and we wait to load all the pages so that the HTML elements are visible. So how we do that? We use actually sleep function to wait how many seconds we want. We can wait. So sometimes whenever we click on occasionally ask for captcha, so that kind of stuff. So we need to handle that the same kind of stuff. So, so it's like after everything, if I don't want to send application, so we can just save also. So it's again depending on our requirement. If you want to just save all the jobs for later for a reviewing purpose also, you can do that. So these are in the code, these are the requirements where we need to ignore or we need to have. So now just going back, so these are all the steps where depending on the requirements we can actually write the code. So this is the final code. So some Selenium WebDriver we know, or like a WebDriver. So anyway, this is not, we are not using as of now, because as of now it is already included in the this thing. So like we have exceptions, so Selenium exceptions and keys, and import by we already seen. So this is mainly when there is a WebDriver kind of stuff, we need to give the WebDriver path, and then we need to do all the stuff. So as of now it is no use for this thing. So generally, Chrome options you already seen to keep the Chrome driver open, and then we are using this, and we are creating a web driver object, Selenium driver object using the Chrome options, and then as I said, we have just opening this current job ID. Now generally, sometimes when we open, it gets accept all cookies or deny all cookies. So it's like when we want to deny all cookies, as of now it is not popping up, so that's why I have just comment this out, reject button. So again, this is like where CSS selector, and it is like to click on that button. So now whenever we click on the sign in button, it's like if you see, we are actually seeing the link text, we sign in, and then once we sign in, we actually give us username and password. And if it presents any captcha, we are waiting until we put some captcha, and when until we keep we press the enter button, it will wait. The execution will wait. So this is one kind of like a waiting state, we can say, until unless user clicks on the enter button, the execution won't go forward. So again, if you see, every time we are actually giving some sleep to 5 seconds, here 2 seconds. So we are actually waiting for 5 seconds to load all the elements. So now it's like find all the elements. So for example, this one. So again, so just go here. So the job card container relative. So it's like we are giving the dot notation of that say selector, and we are actually giving this one job. The relative path we are giving like for class. And depending on, because we are using find elements, we are getting multiple elements, like two elements for example, and then opening listing, and then we find apply button, and then we will giving a phone number and submit. So for example, if there is no such application or something like that. So it's just we are mimicking whatever we are doing. So now let's we can actually change the sleep times if you want to have like more time, like maybe you can give 7 seconds or 10 seconds, something kind of stuff. So now it will sign in button. Now it will be wait, it will wait for some time. Now it has entered username and password and click uh, the button, sign in button. So it is waiting until unless I click on this one. So now I press enter. Mm, Something happened. Yeah, I just okay, let us rerun. So it's not went to the job. Yeah, now it is working fine. So we are not getting any captcha here. So just I'm clicking enter and I just go back. So it will wait for some time and it will ring on the first thing, and then it will wait again for 5 seconds and then it's okay. So as of now it is in the next thing, uh, it's not going to, it is failing. So generally when we click on the save, so we can just write it down and then this will be saved. So somewhere it is failing, so it is unable to find so some element click intercepted. So yeah, just so generally when we click on, so what it is doing, it is not clicking on the next button, but it is actually clicking on here. uh, so that so in the for loop what it is doing, so it is clicking the next one, and here it is saying okay, so it is unable to find whatever the element we have got, that itself is not finding. So generally we need to write another uh, so it is taking time anyways. So if I click here easy apply, so generally it is like under footer. So so apply footer and then next. Mhm. So whenever we click on the submit button, like the footer button, so it is checking for attribute where if it is like the data control name. Okay, content interest article button. Okay, so this is the close button. Yeah, so whenever it's clicking, it is actually clicking. Okay, got struck. So here we need to modify some code. So generally when we are clicking, we are just checking where the data control is like complex application or not. So once if it is complex application, so from I want to say if you just so whenever we click on multi-step, then it's like we will be skipping. So whenever we click on next example, so generally we skip this kind of applications. So that's what it is mentioned. So that's why we are actually whenever we submitting uh, the button, footer button, and then what is the data control name. If it is continue, then we actually call the about application. But somewhere it is actually the about application is not working. That's why I think it is not waiting. So let's see if it is. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah. Okay. After. So here there is something we need to just check. So just I will be checking and let you know. It's like so how we will be checking the submit button attributes. Depending on that, it will be clicking like submit button. So it is unable to find one of the element, and then it is actually going back and it is clicking on the next listing. That's why our code is failing at that. Uh, so it is again calling listing dot click. Then it's like so without closing our this thing, we are actually calling. Uh, the next we are clicking on the next image, like a next listing, so that's why it is having that issue. I think so that's it, but we can so we have already seen how it is actually doing. So let us retry again. For example, if I call this about application here, this method, how it behaves. Yeah, it's automatically going. So here we haven't received any captcha, so just I'm clicking enter. Mm. Now because I called about at that kind of stuff, now it actually clicked on that, but the next thing is like it is unable to select that dismissal. This one, like the close button, once we submit the application, because we are aborting at this uh, here itself. So yeah, but now we are able to check whether apply and then come back and we can just discard it. Yeah, so you can retry at your end and we can actually change your preferences, and you can just try with your any test account and then try with your main accounts depending on preferences. So select all the preferences as we said, and then hit that URL depending on the preferences you have selected, and check what are the elements and yeah, write it. You can write the code depending on your requirement. You can change yourself. So as of now, we have seen already up to here it is working perfectly fine. It is unable to find this dismissal model because we are not submitting. But once we submit the application correctly, then this also works. It can find the close button, and then it will wait for some time, and then it will close the drive. Uh, and, that's it for today.